Biathlon World Cup. It's round 8 in Östersund in Sweden, and the 17 of 24 races already completed. We're now coming to the stage where their World Cup positions are increasingly more significant. Well, the conditions, as you can see, 3.7 degrees. It's very warm indeed. A little bit of wind, 1.7 meters per second. Here are the World Cup standings with Pouare, the Frenchman, leading on 5:30. He leads by the fact that he has 4 victories to Rostovtsev's 3. Whichever of those two finishes first today will claim the yellow bib of the World Cup leader for the pursuit tomorrow. And, of course, Björndalen in 3rd place after that magnificent Olympics. 3 individual gold medals, and Björndalen is back in contention. Rostovtsev, the Russian, leads the sprint standings at the moment. 160 points, just ahead of Frode Andresen. Now, that is going to be a close battle as well. But all the stars are here, despite the fact that the field is half that of the fields we see in normal World Cups. 120, 125 we've seen at Hochfilzen and Pokluka earlier on in the season. Only 69 starters today. But as I say, all the stars are here, so not to worry about that. And most of the favourites have decided to go in group number 2. Some of them in group 3, the likes of Fischer, Ludwig Gredler of Austria, Frank Luck and Alexander Wolf of Germany. In fact, many of the Germans deciding to go a little later. And that may prove to be a mistake, because it is exceptionally warm. You can see how sunny it is. And you have to feel that the snow is going to get softer and slower as the race goes on. Well, the 3 contenders for the World Cup title, maybe being a little presumptuous, but I think it's going to be a battle between the likes of Pouare, Rostovtsev and Björndalen. And Pouare, the World Cup leader, starts at number 33, well in the side group 2. Rostovtsev has already started, number 10. He's out on the tracks, and I think he's, of the 3 of the favourites, has the best start number. And Ulе-Éinar Bjёrndalen, just 5 minutes behind Rostovtsev. He starts at number 22, and he's going to have to win at least 3 of the remaining World Cups if he wants a chance of taking the Crystal Globe at the end of the season. Still a long way to go, though. 7 races to be completed, 6 after today's. Here's the sprint leader of the World Cup, Pavel Rostovtsev of Russia. What a season he's having. Didn't really fall into place in Salt Lake City. Consistent 6th, 6th and 5th in the 3 individual races. Rostovtsev went for medals. He's come home empty-handed on this occasion. But he's had his fair share of glory in the past with a whole host of medals in Holmenkollen World Championships in 2000. He did even better in Pokluka, the only double gold medalist there in Pokluka, the World Championships last year. So his focus now 100% on claiming the overall World Cup title. And it couldn't be closer, with both himself and Рафаэль Пуаре on 530 points. Remember, the sprint event, only 2 shoots. First in the prone, second in the standing. No change in the format there. Maybe interested to hear that the cross-country tour have or are experimenting with a new format today, calling it a duathlon, where they change the skis halfway through and switch from classic to freestyle to 10 kilometers on each style. So that will be fascinating to watch. That will be coming up later on this afternoon with David Goldstrom as Peter Sendel goes clear. Good start for Peter, man who went to Salt Lake City, didn't get a start in any of the individual races, but came home with a silver thanks to his performance in the relay event. Ulе-Éinar Bjårdalen, 3 gold medals in the individual results. Not only that, Norway claiming the relay event as well for the first time ever in the Olympics. What a season he's had. The hero of Norway now, and a big, big question mark over whether he can claim the World Cup title at the end of this season, just to add to a tremendous season. Really has gone very well for Bjårdalen. He's such an intelligent skier and trainer. He's thought this one out well. His focus was on the Olympic Games. He's got the success there. I just wonder how motivated he is now, having taken that massive haul of gold in Salt Lake City. Well, we'll find out in less than half an hour's time. This course will take him around 24, 25 minutes, depending on how many targets he misses. Frode Andresen, well, he might even be a little bit quicker. Now, Andresen very, very unlucky in Salt Lake City. Let down on 3 occasions by his last standing shoot. Could have come home with, well, he did, of course, take a gold in the relay, and Norway have him to thank for a tremendous performance there. All the coaches holding their breath. He's such an exciting athlete, doesn't always go his way. You never really know what's going to happen, but on that day it worked. In the individual races it didn't really happen. He was leading the individual with 1 shoot to go, but then missed 3 standing shots, an extra 3 minutes added on to his time, and he moved outside the medal positions. But Andresen, certainly a chance of claiming a victory here today. Pavел Rostovцев, a victory for him would put him in a very strong position to claim the sprint World Cup title at the end of the season. And just in case you haven't got the biathlon calendar in front of you, just tell you there's a sprint and a pursuit being raced here in Östersund. In Lahti, a sprint and a pursuit again. And then Holmenkollen, the final event of the World Cup, a sprint pursuit. And to wrap the season off, we've got a mass start race. That is going to be someday on the 24th of March. So make sure you join us for that one. Still a fair way to go before then. Rostovtsev going clear. 8:54 on the clock. And he's going to be, I think, inside Peter Sendel's time. Not by much. Certainly hasn't got enough an advantage to allow him to miss targets. 9:09 recorded by Peter Sendel, and Rostovtsev goes through 9:08, just 1 second, not even that, 0.8 of a second between first and second at the moment, and a very good start. Good to see Jean-Marc Chablot of Switzerland up there in the top 3. I know it's early days, but Chablot's had a miserable season. No World Cup points recorded for the best of the Swiss biathletes. It would be nice to see him clock a few top 30 places before the end of the year. Roman de Staal going through. This is the first of the checkpoints. Now, how's Ulе-Éinar going? 4:09, the fastest time recorded by Berger so far. Peter Sendel, who we know is in second place after the first shoot at the moment, 4:11. And Bjorndalen, how has he started very steadily in all the Olympic races once he'd learnt his lesson in the 30-kilometre cross-country race where he started too fast, trying to stay with Johan Mulik. I wonder how he feels about that now. Well, that's another issue that I don't think we'll get into today, but we'll have plenty of time to discuss the drugs controversy that has obviously arisen after the Olympics. But for now, we'll focus on this round of the World Cup, the 8th round. Here's an exciting prospect for Germany, Michael Greiss, who's going through Bjorndalen's time, 3:57, already 12 seconds in time inside, 10 seconds inside Greiss's time, which, what's that, about 65, 70 metres at the very least. Bjorndalen's opened up in the first kilometre and a half. And a very impressive start indeed. Rikko Gross, is he going to be up amongst the best? 4:07. He's not inside Bjorndalen's time, and he may even be trailing to his teammate Michael Greiss, who's a relatively youngster, 26 years of age, and just starting to come to the sort of form that will make him part of the German quartet, the A team, the team that has won more relay events than any other. Well, the second and third men in the World Cup are already out on the track. Рафаэль Пуаре of France, 530 points to his name already after what was certainly not an awe-inspiring start to the season. His focus was all on... Welcome back to Östersund, just flicking through the positions in the early stages. Jay Hakkinen of the United States there in 11th place. He will have been disappointed with his Olympics, although on the whole the Americans doing very well in biathlon and cross country. Certainly a rise in form. They're not in the top league quite yet, but the cross country skiers under the guidance of Krista Skog, who incidentally was a former British coach, went from the British team to the Swedish team, didn't have much success with them, then went to the Australians, now with the Americans, finally finding success, and has based himself out in Salt Lake City, and we wish him well out there. Now the Russians would enjoy a victory today. Майгуров, certainly one of the men who has a chance. Here's a man who also has a chance, Henrik Forsberg, the husband of Magdalena. Now, up and down season for Henrik. At his 35th birthday over in Salt Lake on the opening day of the Olympic Games, but nothing really happened for him out there. As you can see, he's quite quick. In fact, he's very quick indeed, and if he can hit all the targets, then he's certainly a potential winner. He's not won a World Cup yet. He got a second earlier on in the season, only to be denied by Suman of Austria, who put in a tremendous sprint finish to claim that one. Now, Björndalen, early season problems, all in the prone position. Wow, this is not the sort of form that brought this man 3 Olympic golds, 3 misses, and Björndalen is out of the race. Almost certainly Рафаэль Пуаре will try and catch up on his performance. He starts at 33, so he's got 5 minutes or so before he comes through this stage, but not a good start from Björndalen. And Pavел Rostowcев, if he knows about it, and I'm sure he will fairly soon, will be absolutely delighted, because the Russian has gone clear. The man who leads the Sprint World Cup started exceptionally well, and was ahead of Peter Sendel, who you see now leaving the range after his second shoot. A clear shoot for Peter, that's just what he needed, but it's the sort of form that he needed to produce in the end of January or early February to get himself a place in the individual races in the Olympics. It didn't happen. Mihaэль Graiss was the man who outskied him, and Greiss has started well. 8:39 on the clock. This is considerably faster than his teammate Peter Sendel. It's going to be pretty much on terms with Paavo Purinen of Finland as he goes through. Now, one Norwegian has made mistakes in the prone position. 3 misses for Björndalen. Trying to think what might have gone wrong. Certainly he was skiing fast, but no faster than we've seen him do in the past. Fred Anderson. Good start. That was close. That was very close, that 4th shot, right on the edge of the target. It moved, but it didn't go down. Anderson with 1 penalty loop to ski, but it's exceptionally fast. Look at that time, 8:21. Had he gone clear, he would have had a 15-second advantage over Mihaэль Greiss of Germany. As it is, he's not going to be far off the leaders. 8:51 the time he's after, 150 meters to ski, and Frode Andersen is only going to be a matter of seconds outside the lead, despite the fact that he's missed 1 target. 47, 48, 49, there you go, 51 seconds. Greiss will hold the lead, and Andersen, if he can go clear on the standing, it's a big question, I know, but if he can, he's still got a chance of claiming victory. Standings at the moment, Greiss leading. In fact, 2 Germans in the top positions after the first shoot. Just bring you up to date on the British team, who were bitterly disappointed with their runs in Salt Lake City. They did a lot of research into how to prepare for the Olympic Games at altitude, but it really didn't pay off. And Mike Dixon and Mark G, Fred as he's known, had a chat with them just a couple of days ago, saying that they still can't explain what went wrong, but they felt tired from the very first day they arrived in Salt Lake City, and just feeling they overdid the training. But it's all too late now. That's what the research was there to do, but it didn't work. So they'll be looking for a few good races before the end of the season. and crucially, they've got to produce some good runs to ensure that the British team keep their quota of 3 races in the individual races for next year. If they fail to do so, then one of the other teams will come up and claim 3 start positions instead of the 2, and the British team will be dropped down to 2. And that would not bode well for the future of British biathlon. Pawel Rostowcev, great start with a clear prone. 1 more to go in the standing. That is the sort of form that brought him victories in the season. And Rostowcev goes out 18:02 on the clock at the moment, way inside Peter Sendel's time. This is the sort of form he wanted in Salt Lake City. It just didn't materialize. So a new leader after the second shoot, but only 10 men through that stage at the moment. Plenty of good clear shoots. Good to see Jeremy Teeler of the United States up there, still in 3rd position, just behind Peter Sendel. 18:20 the time for Rostovcev. That's going to take some beating. 15 seconds inside Peter Sendel's time. Fred Anderson, who missed 1 on his prone, will be waiting for him to come in again. Рафаэль Пуаре is due in fairly shortly. Here he comes, the yellow bib of the World Cup leader, choosing an early lane position. This is where the French were both training and zeroing their weapons early on, so he's decided to choose the same lane, knows the target works, and the wind conditions in different parts of the range does vary. So a sensible move, and it pays off. Poiré goes clear. That's a very good shoot indeed. 8:25. He's got 25 seconds. He's going to be inside that time set by Mihaэль Graiss. And the World Cup leader is on fire. Remember, though, that Rostovcev has gone through the second shoot and taken the lead there. Although Rostovcev not really featuring after the first shoot. He's down in 8th, 9th position now. 17 seconds slower than Рафаэль Пуаре. And Poiré 8 seconds clear of Mihaэль Graiss. This is a very impressive run from last year's World Cup winner and the current World Cup leader. Incidentally, with 24 races involved in the season, it's worth pointing out that the 4 worst results of the year will be deducted from the total. So when you look at Bjorndalen's score and you realise that he's missed out 5 races already this year, he won't have any score deducted at any stage, so his score of 458 looks a little bit better. Whereas Рафаэль Пуаре at the moment, if you take his 4 worst results away, he will lose 22 points, and Pawel Rostowcev loses even more than that. So it is still fairly complex, and we won't really get a good idea until the talk goes to Lahti of what the men have got to do to secure victory. Svend Fischer just working his way around. Surprised to see Sven choosing Group 3 for his start, but a number of the Germans thinking the conditions were going to be stable enough to start late and have the advantage of knowing what you have to do. Майгуров going out with 4, and the big story so far, Ulе-Éinar Bjårdalen, the triple Olympic champion, or quadruple Olympic champion I should say, with the relay as well, has missed 3 on the first prone and is right out of contention. Henrik Forsberg, well, he misses the first one just like Bjorndalen, and the second. So a quick change of the sights for Henrik. Will it pay off? No, it won't. And well, looks as though he's moved the sights down as well. Well, that's better. and the last two going down, but all a little bit late. So all the effort from now will be for nothing. But do remember, the results of this race determine the start positions in tomorrow's pursuit, and that is doubly bad news for Ulе-Éinar Bjåndalen, because he is going to find himself at the very, very best outside the top 5. And if things go badly in the standing shoot, then he could find himself down outside the top 20 and way, way behind the leaders after today's race. Rostovtsev, one of his main rivals, has gone clear. Рафаэль Пуаре has gone clear on the prone shoot. He's yet to come in for the standing. Spring-like conditions up in Östersund. We're not exactly in the north of Sweden, but way over halfway up on the western side, not too far from the Norwegian border, but right in the landmass. They get the most stable conditions here, but they also get the coldest conditions. Temperatures way down below -50, -55 on a bad winter, and believe it or not, everything just goes on as normal. It's a good lesson to us all. And the tracks will still be cut, and even at that temperature, well, I'm not sure people go out and train. Wouldn't be sensible. Peter Sendel coming in. 10 targets hit. That's certainly a good performance from Sendel, but he'll know his best chance comes in the pursuit event, because shooting is his forte, and he relies on good shooting to produce good results. He's never been the quickest skier. He's losing a few seconds every season to the fastest men. Mihaэль Grайs, on the other hand, is gaining every season. And another good clear shoot for Mihaэль Grайs. Now, he was ahead of Peter Sendel after the first shoot. He's even further ahead after the second. And Grайs has gone ahead of Pawel Rostowczew. But that's going to be a real battle between those two. They've both gone clear in prone and standing. And they're only separated by a couple of seconds, with 3.35 kilometers to go to the finish line. Rikko Gross, one miss for him. Well, that's a little confusing. You've got the little caption indicating a miss, but all 5 targets have gone down. Can't explain that at the moment, but we'll see at the end. There we go, a correction already, and Rikko Gross has been given 10 out of 10. Can't do better than that. He goes clear. Last time to the likes of Mihaэль Grайs, and Grайs rapidly becoming one of the main men in the German squad. About time they had a change. They went for the old faithful quartet in the relay. Didn't work this time. Took gold in Nagano. Had to settle for silver behind Norway in Salt Lake City. Now, Svend Fischer, the same problem. One little yellow blip indicating a miss, but all 5 targets appear to have gone down, so we've got a bit of a technical problem. I think we can bank on the fact that Fischer has gone clear, and he goes out 8:53. It's quick, but it's still not as quick as Mihaэль Grайs, and Germany dominating the leaderboard after the first shoot.
Det är alltså Påare, Grais, Fischer, Gros, 2, Andresen, Andresen, trots de här ränderna går han mot norrmannen på en 5:e plats. 20 sekunder före Björndalen. Vi väntar på Rostov efter mål i den röda nummerlappen. Vi ska följa Perre också. Oj, det blir 3 bom på Björnberg. Då blir det tömt.
Pawel Rostowczew in a good position after the second shoot. He's gone clear, but he knows that he's got the likes of Mihaэль Grайs chasing him, and Rostowczew is going to have to dig very, very deep indeed. Not easy at this time of the season. All the athletes are tired after their Olympic exertions, but Rostowczew has set his mind on winning the overall World Cup. He's going to have to beat Рафаэль Пуаре today if he wants to reclaim the yellow bib of the World Cup leader. The winner between those two will take the yellow bib into the pursuit event tomorrow, and Rostowczew has done exceptionally well. 29.4. He's not skiing as fast as Pуаре, but he's got the advantage in that he's gone clear, and Pуаре still has 5 targets to clear. Just getting some information through the headphones that Ulе-Éinar Björndalen has pulled himself together on the second shoot. Our apologies for missing that one, but the director's sticking with the men who are up the top of the leaderboard. Björndalen, missing 3 in the prone event, in the prone shoot, has gone clear in the standing, and he's got himself back to within 37 seconds of the leaders, and believe you me, that will be cut before the end of the race, unless, of course, he's been working like a Trojan over the middle loop, which isn't unlike Björndalen, but he will be desperate to get a good result and ensure a good start position for tomorrow. He's 37 seconds adrift at the moment, and if he can get it down to 20, then he's got every chance of catching the likes of Puaре in the pursuit tomorrow. Ludwig Gredler going through his first shoot, one of the Austrian veterans on the squad. Now the captions are a little confusing, seem to be picking up an extra penalty for everybody. Now this is interesting stuff. Puaре, 2 penalties now. That does open it up a little, because there's no way he's going to contend with Pavel Rostovtzev. Puare was very, very quick over the first leg. He was 15 seconds clear of Rostovtzev. 18:20 the time he's trying to get inside, but he's got 2 loops to ski. It's going to take 40 seconds or so, and it's going to be close. It is going to be very close indeed. He's on the penalty loop now. We can assume 40 to 45 seconds to complete the 2 penalties, and that will put him just around 18:20, maybe a little slower than that. Björndalen down in 6th position, despite the fact that he missed 3 on the first shoot. And as we said, he's 37 seconds behind the leading time of Mihaэль Graiss, who will be coming in to finish fairly shortly. But if Björndalen can gain 10 seconds, he'll move up into the top 4 positions, and that's just what he needs. He'll be delighted that Рафаэль Пуаре has gone and missed targets, but Pуаре, remember, starting behind Björndalen, and he'll be feeding off the splits that the Norwegian has got. Of the top 3 men in the World Cup, it's Björndalen has done well. As Andresson going through 22.50, 3 targets missed for Andresson as well. The standing shoot once again denying him, and he's into 3rd position. 22.56, 19 seconds down. Well, 3 loops takes at least 1 minute, 1 minute 5 seconds, maybe even a little bit longer. Andresson is flying. He's skiing 40 seconds faster than the likes of Mihaэль Graiss, and Greiss is skiing faster than just about everyone else. So there are the split times. Rostovtsev 11.6. He's lost time to Greiss. It looks as though Mihaэль Greiss is going to come in and take the 1st position. Well, wouldn't that be tremendous were he to win his 1st World Cup? Already had 1 podium finish. He achieved that in Ruhpolding, the penultimate round before the Olympic Games. Not a good shoot for Frank Luuk. Really shouldn't be missing 2 on the prone. Now the pressure is on the late starters. Frank Luuk lying in 4th position in the World Cup at the moment. 5 top 3 positions in the races so far this year. Reasonably consistent. Had a bit of a blip in Oberhof, the 1st round after the Christmas break. But other than that, he's been up in the top 5 or 6 positions. But 2 misses on the prone, and it's looking as though he may well lose that record.
Mihäälь Grais som har det här loppet lite under kontroll just nu. 25.43. Han är inte långt borta nu, Grais. Björndalen också givetvis. Björndalen också.
Paavo Purinen, who started well, was up in the leading positions after the first shoot. One missed shot has cost him 47 seconds. Goes down into 4th place at the moment, but that's a good Purinen. He's not the most consistent of biathletes, but he has proved that if he's on form and a little bit of luck goes with him, then he is a potential winner. Ulе-Éinar Björndalen has proved that time and time again. Here he is coming in, 37 seconds the difference between himself and the leaders when he came out of the range for the second time. That first prone shoot has cost him dear. 27.01. He's not going to match Rostovtsev's time, or is he? It's going to be so close. What a staggering ski. Björndalen comes in and takes the lead. Would you believe it? 3 misses. Well, I have to eat my hat there. I said he was out of the race, having missed 3 in the prone position, and he's found over 37 seconds in the last 3.5 kilometres. Quite staggering stuff from Björndalen, and what a cheek I had to suggest that he may have lost some of the enthusiasm, some of the drive, having won so many medals at the Olympic Games. He won't take any of that. He has dug so deep to get himself back into contention. And one thing now is absolutely certain. Björndalen is racing his heart out to claim the overall World Cup. He lost out to Puaре last year. He lost out to the Frenchman the year before that. Will he go one better this year? Well, still a long way to go, but Björndalen has laid his cards on the table. And that is the most amazing ski, the most amazing finish we've seen so far this season. He hasn't won it quite yet, but Puaре is going to have to go some if he wants to match that time. Frude Andrason also out on the course. He's missed 3, and Björndalen and Andrason by far and away the 2 quickest men on the tour. Svend Fischer, just 1 miss, 17.33. How's he getting on? He's strong. Here comes Frude Andrason now. 3 misses, 27.10, just missing out. Goes into 4th position. Rostovtsev now 27.10, 27.11, 17.6 down. Well, just not sure whether I missed it or whether the director missed it, but Mihaэль Graiss, there he is being interviewed. He is the current leader. He started just behind Ulе-Éinar Björndalen, and he's come in and taken 15 seconds off. He shot clear, but Mihaэль Graiss, the current leader. Björndalen in 2nd place, 15 seconds behind. Pavel Rostovtsev, the leader of the Sprint World Cup, in 3rd place, 16.7 behind. And Frode Andresen of Norway, 17.6 down. And he is in 4th place with Rikko Gross just a further 2 seconds behind. So 20 seconds separating the top 5 positions. This is going to be an amazing pursuit event tomorrow. And one thing we do know is that Рафаэль Пуаре of France is going to join those top 5. He won't be more than 20 seconds behind the leaders. The question is, will he take top spot? Will he beat Björndalen? Will he come in ahead of Rostovtsev? Well, there are so many possibilities at the moment. We're waiting for the yellow bib of Pуаре to come up over the hill for the final time. Mihaэль Greiss, what an opening to his career. Taken a long time to win the favour of the German selectors, but Frank-Peter Roche will be absolutely delighted with his run today. He's younger than most of the other members in the team, but at 25, he's still got a long career ahead of him, 3 or 4 seasons at the very least, but he could be the new man on the German team. 17 events so far this year, and in terms of winners, it's been a good season with 8 different winners from 6 different nations. Vincent de Frasner of France, another man who's a potential winner. This looks like Halvard Hannevold coming in, yes it is, 27.22. He goes just outside the top 5, 27.23. He's within 30 seconds of the starters, and certainly he'll stand a good chance in the pursuit event tomorrow, shooting his strong point. And if he can go clear tomorrow, then he stands a good chance. De Frasner coming in, 27.09, just 15 seconds down into third. Now, that is interesting. That's certainly done Bjorndalen a favour by putting a little space between himself and Rostowcev. As Michael Greiss knows he survived one more challenge, but he's got to wait for Poiret to finish as yet, and here he comes. The leading time at the moment, 26.23, 26.40. He's got 20 seconds to get inside that. In fact, he's not going to make it, is he? 3 seconds now for Poiret to get inside. He's missed that chance now. Bjorndalen, 27.08. He's got 10 seconds to get inside the Norwegian's time and to keep extending the lead at the top of the World Cup. But it's going to be very close. But I think Poiret this time is just outside. 27.08 has come and gone. Rostovcev 27.10. Poiret's going to miss that as well. Now, how many places will he lose? Every place absolutely crucial as the season goes on. And he's down in 7th, 23 seconds down. And for a change, Poiret has made mistakes that have cost him very dearly indeed. We'll have to wait until the end of the World Cup, the last week in March, to find out how costly that is. But one thing we do know for sure, Mikael Greiss has secured a victory here in Östersund. Still plenty of good top quality runners to come in, but I really can't see anyone challenging that time of Mikael Greiss. 26.53 should be good enough to give him his first ever World Cup win, ahead of the multiple Olympic champion Ulе-Éinar Bjårdalen, who came from nowhere on the last loop to put himself into second. Vincent de Frasne, another good podium finish for him, and he's up ahead of his teammate Рафаэль Пуаре. Austrians have got Perner to congratulate. He's there in 10th position alongside Rojkov, 46 seconds down, still in touch. Well, the post-race interviews starting already for Mikael Greiss. Not something that he'll be too unfamiliar with. He's already produced some good results as a junior. He's been doing well on the Europa Cup tour, and finally this season has had the vote of confidence and been given a place in the German team, and he couldn't have done better than he has done this season. His position in the World Cup, well, it doesn't really indicate what sort of a talent he is. He's down in 18th position, but bear in mind he missed out 2 rounds of the World Cup early in the season. He also missed the races in Antolz, having been selected for the Olympics, but he has already notched up a 2nd, a 5th, a 7th, and he got 15th and 16th in 2 races in Salt Lake City. So there is no doubt that Mikael Greiss is the next generation of German biathlete, and their success is pretty sure to roll on for another 3 or 4 seasons. Not only can he shoot, he's also very quick. Not as quick as Bjorndalen and Andresen, but he's quick enough to win, and he's proved that here today. Viktor Майгуров, 2 misses, 28.15. Losing around 30 seconds to the likes of Greiss on. Welcome back to Östersund. Svend Fischer of Germany coming through. You can see that 1 miss. Now, how expensive is it? Mikael Greiss is there. His time, 26.53. This is not a bad ski, in fact, by Svend Fischer, and maybe the celebration's coming a little bit too early. He's still got some way to cross the line, but he may well be in touch, and Svend Fischer could take the lead. He could well take the lead away from Mikael Greiss. 1 target missed, and here is Greiss looking nervous. But I think Fischer is inside that time. 53, he's still got 20 seconds, and Greiss's moment of glory has come and gone. Svend Fischer takes the lead, 13.9. He pushes Bjorndalen down into 3rd. Greiss goes down into 2nd, and Svend Fischer goes first. Well, what a run denied at the last moment by one of his own teammates. Well, he came from nowhere. We're certainly guilty of picking up the coverage on Mihaэль Graiss, the new name in the German team. And while we were doing that, the sly fox Svend Fischer has come out of nowhere. Well, is that going to be another win for him? Maybe we shouldn't be quite so presumptuous in predicting what's going to happen. Fischer already got 20 wins to his name in the World Cup. It could well be 21 now. A late start. Obviously knew something about the conditions. Thought it would stay fast. It certainly has stayed fast. And he started number 44 of 69. Now, let's have a look down the field to see if anyone else can go further ahead. You can see the margins at the moment. It's going to be an incredibly tight start for the pursuit event. Just 37 seconds separating the top 8. And Pуаре in a very, very tricky situation indeed. He must catch Rostowcev, and he has to catch Björndalen to ensure that he doesn't lose too many points. Of those who could come up from the back, well, Paavo Puranen has proved that he can do it if he's on form. 9 out of 10 today. I think he'll have to shoot at least 19 out of 20 tomorrow to have a chance. Victor Майгуров, just 2 targets missed. A good run from Lars Berger of Norway. 4 targets missed, 151 behind. If you take his penalties away, he is a man who could win. So watch out for Berger tomorrow. I think it's going to be a couple of seasons before his shooting is consistent enough to consider him a real threat. So the cameras switch their attention from Mihaэль Graiss to Svend Fischer. The young and the old congratulate each other, but on this occasion it's the experience that tells yet again. Fischer, who really didn't produce anything like his best in Salt Lake City. Best result was a 17th in the sprint event there. He missed 2 targets, but just found it hard to cope with the altitude, as did so many athletes. Certainly Mike Dixon was staggered by some of the performances being put in out there. Said that he felt like dying not only at the end of the race, just about every time he went up the bigger hill. Really suffered with the altitude. Others seemed to go through it without even noticing the fact that they were up at 1,700 meters. Good crowd turned out for today's event, and if the sun stays with us, I think it may double or triple before the pursuit events tomorrow. Still the women's sprint to come today. That's coming up a little later on. He's covering up the body of a biathlete. He's a big man, but can't afford to carry too much weight around in this event. He's one of the heavier men on the tour, so he doesn't like the soft conditions, and hence I was a little surprised to see him starting later, but it hasn't affected Svend Fischer. The tracks have stayed in pretty good condition. You can see some softer spots, but if you stay on the well-trodden part of the track, it seems to be holding out pretty well. Zdeněk Vítek of the Czech Republic, what can he do? He's only missed 1 target, so this isn't a bad time at all. It's still a good 20-25 seconds from here until Vítek will finish. So a top 10 is possible. Björndalen's time of 27.08. I think it might just be okay. It's going to be close, though. And Vítek 27.04. If he can get between himself, Björndalen, and Pуаре, he will do the Norwegian a huge favour. And it looks as though he's done it. Yes, he has. He goes into 8th, 1 ahead of Pуаре, 27.13. And Pуаре loses yet more points. And although I have no favours one way or the other, it does make for a much more exciting finish to the season. Rostowcev is the new holder of the yellow bib. Svend Fischer will bring himself up into contention. Currently lying in 9th position. I think he's too far behind to have any realistic chance of taking the overall World Cup this year. But he's clocked up, I think, is his 21st World Cup victory. and closes the gap on Ulе-Éinar Bjåndalen, the most successful ever biathlete in World Cup wins with 27. Рафаэль Пуаре has 18 to his name, Frude Andrason 11. And those are the top men. Frank Luck down with 10. Frank Luck still to finish, started number 55. So just a few more minutes before the results can be confirmed. Those are the standings at the moment. 26:39 now, the quickest time for this sprint event. Just comparing that to the sprint time for the Salt Lake City run, 24:51 for Ulle-Éinar Bjåndalen, but he shot clear on that occasion. Had he shot clear today, he would have been at least 45 seconds quicker. I think it's much more likely to have been around a minute quicker, and so he would have been around 26 minutes. So this course somewhat slower than the one in Salt Lake City. The hills a little harder, no altitude to contend with, and with these warm conditions I think the snow just fractionally slower as well. Pouare now down in 9th position, and there's no saying that he won't move down 1 or 2 more slots as the race goes on. Just a little reminder of how the points work in the biathlon. The winner picks up 50, so Svend Fischer will increase his tally by 50. Second gets 46. Third, who's Bjåndalen at the moment, gets 43. And 9th position, where Рафаэль Пуаре gets 28. So as you can see, 15 points the gap will close by. At the start of the day, well, Pouare was on 530. Bjåndalen quite a way behind, 458, but he will close that by a little margin, and then it will all depend on tomorrow's pursuit event to see how much of a dent Bjåndalen can put in the Frenchman's lead of the World Cup. Not ruling out, of course, Rostovtsev of Russia, who will add a fair few points. We'll get confirmation of that hopefully at the end of this program, so we get the precise positions. Just as I promised, a little bit of information on the British performers. Hugh Pritchard, the former accountant who started first of the British trio, started at number 42, went clear on the prone, was looking fairly good, but then missed 2 on the standing, and waiting to get confirmation of his finishing position. I will do so if I can before the end of the program, but those 2 missed shots on the standing will have cost him dearly. Still can't seem to get his results up. The computer's taking a break as the Swedes get interviewed. Henrik Forsberg there. Bjorn Ferry, another of the very talented skiers. It's good to see the Swedish coming back up. Spring conditions here in Östersund, and if you are taking a break and you fancy a bit of cross-country skiing rather than the downhill version, then Scandinavia, a great place to head. Superb conditions from middle of March onwards, and they prepare the tracks meticulously every day. And never a bad idea to head to a World Cup resort either, because you know that the tracks will be in good form. Holmenkollen just outside Oslo, still to be used, so they'll be in good nick. Rotman, former world champion in the individual back in the year 2000, took that title in Holmenkollen. Hasn't really done anything this year, but was skiing much, much better at the Olympics, as were all the Austrians, and a little bit surprised to see them coming to such good form. But Rotman 118 down, 3 targets missed. He's skiing every bit as well as Mihaэль Grайs, but unlike Bjåndalen, he can't afford 3 misses if he wants to take wins. But he's up there, and he will have a chance of getting into the top 3 in the pursuit event tomorrow. Just a reminder of what the season still has in store for us. 17 races, 18 races in fact, now completed. And 2 more venues after Östersund to host World Cup events. Lahti in Finland, that's always a good event with the races taking place below those famous jumps. And then perhaps the most famous jump of all, Holmenkollen, and that hosting the World Cup finals this year. A sprint and a pursuit on the 21st and the 23rd of March for the men, and then the mass start, the final event for the Men's World Cup. And let's hope that the World Cup tally goes right down to that last event. I can't see the likes of Pouare and Rostovцев getting more than 30 points clear. The top 30 in the world will win the right to enter that mass start event, and that will be the climax of the season. Be interested to know your views on what sort of changes should take place in the racing formats, whether you're a fan of the time trial events or whether you prefer the mass starts, bearing in mind, of course, that if you have a mass start, you have to reduce the numbers that enter. Fred G, here he is. Not so often we get to see him on the screens. Looks as though he's got bad skis. That was the story in Salt Lake City as well. They didn't come down that hill any bit as quick as the likes of Bjorndalen and Greiss and Fischer, who flew down the hill. So here comes Mark G, 30-30 the time. He's way down outside the top 30, but if he can get in the top 60, he'll get a run tomorrow. So that is 3:57 at the moment. He goes 55th. He's going to have to hang around and see whether any of the last 9 competitors, in fact 5 of them, will have to finish in the top 60 to deny Fred G a start tomorrow. Coming in just behind him, Jason Sklenar, who started a minute behind. He will finish in the top 40 somewhere. We'll get confirmation, I hope, if we get time to flick through all the finishing positions. But both Fred G and Jason Sklenar finishing in the top 60, so they'll get a take-shoot event tomorrow, although they will have the rather depressing thought that they're going to be starting 3:57 behind the leader, Svend Fischer. So he'll be gone way in the distance by the time they get to put their skis on. But still, good experience, and that's what they need at this stage. Feriol Canard of France, a good clear shoot, but still unable to win a position in the top 15. And the French have built a reputation for good marksmanship over the last 3 or 4 seasons. That performance by Canard will do that. Reputation no harm at all, but he's 1:33 down, but delighted with that. That's his best run of the year, and it looks as though he's going to pick up some World Cup points as well, and that should help his cause. He's down in 49th position in the World Cup at the moment. He had a tremendous run in the 3rd round of the World Cup where he finished 7th in the individual race. Nothing really happened for him since then, but he is back in the World Cup points now. Henrik Forsberg with more interviews, but he's missed targets today, coming to the end of his season and the end of his biathlon career. Had a long career in cross-country, switched to biathlon, not just to be with his wife, but also because he enjoys the scene a little more. He wanted a different challenge, but here's good run by Bergman. Now, Bergman's still a way to go, not quite as quick as the top-ranked skiers, but a clear shoot will have given him some encouragement. He's got around 40 seconds, no, a little less than that, before he crosses the line. 28-26. I don't think he's going to pick up any World Cup points. Have to be in the top 30 to achieve that. There's Frank Luck down in 29th position. Not a good run from Luck. Jeremy Thiele just outside the World Cup points in 31st. Egil Kjelland of Norway, a disappointing run for him, down in 32nd position. And Henrik Forsberg, you can see there, 37th at the moment, 28.54, missing far too many targets to be a threat to the best. And Viksten comes in, well, 3 Swedes in a row, 37, 38 and 39. They'll have a little private battle in the pursuit event tomorrow. Well, luckily we don't have to rush away from. Here are the results of the men's sprint event. Svend Fischer claiming his 21st ever World Cup. Mihaэль Graiss gets his second position of the season when he thought he had it in the bag, but he's 13.9 behind his great friend and rival Svend Fischer. Ulе-Éinar Bjårndalen 3 misses, and he still manages a podium finish down in 3rd. Rostowcev, the World Cup leader now, finishing 5th. He'll stay with the lead in the sprint World Cup as well, and significantly Рафаэль Пуаре losing a 15-point advantage to Ulе-Éinar Bjårndalen, and that could be interesting tomorrow should the Frenchman make more mistakes in the standing position. But Ulle-Éinar Bjårndalen, wonder how much he's going to have left after that tremendous finish to pull back from 37 seconds behind. Further down, Björn Ferry of Sweden, well, he gets a start in the pursuit, but not the sort of result he would have wanted. 5 misses, can't afford that at this level. Jason Sklenar there, down in 55th position. He'll get a start in the pursuit, but he should be capable of pulling himself up through the order. Mark G just missing out, 63rd in the end, 3:57. One more target, and he would have been up in the top 50, certainly. But it hasn't happened, and he'll have to sit out the action. And another disappointing run for Hugh Pritchard. My record said he only missed 2, but he's down there as having missed 4 and 5:24 behind. It just hasn't happened in the latter part of the season. The men's pursuit starting tomorrow at 1500 Central European time. And of course 2 o'clock in